What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss massive updates straight out of the Dallas Cowboys camp. It's big, it's exciting, and it could very well have a lasting impact on the team as we head into the later stretch of the season. Now, I know y'all are buzzing about this one. The Dallas Cowboys have just signed quarterback Will Grier to the active roster. Yup, you heard that right. Will Grier is now officially part of the Cowboys quarterback room, and today we're going to break down what this means for the team, the season, and what role he could play going forward. Before we dive deep into the implications of this move, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss out on any more Dallas Cowboys news. Trust me, this season is going to be a roller coaster, and you don't want to miss a thing. Alright, let's get into it. Will Grier, who was originally brought in for some preseason action with the Cowboys and later spent time on their practice squad, has now been elevated to the active roster. You might be asking yourself, why would the Cowboys make this move? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We'll talk about Will Grier's history, why the Cowboys made this decision, and what it could mean for both Dak Prescott and the team as a whole moving forward. As we start off, it's essential to understand that Will Grier is a player with a ton of untapped potential. Drafted in the third round of the 2019 NFL Draft by the Carolina Panthers, Grier was once considered one of the more intriguing quarterbacks in his class. At West Virginia, he had a very productive career, throwing for over 3,800 yards in his senior season and showing flashes of brilliance. His ability to throw deep passes with accuracy and his understanding of defenses was something scouts were excited about. But when Grier entered the NFL, the transition wasn't as smooth as many had hoped. He spent most of his rookie year as a backup and only got a brief opportunity to start for Carolina. His struggles with consistency, particularly when it came to making quick decisions and holding on to the football, quickly became apparent. And unfortunately, after just a year with the Panthers, he was let go and later picked up by the New England Patriots. However, his time with New England wasn't much longer, as the Patriots ultimately waived him, which led to the Cowboys bringing him in on their practice squad in 2022. What's interesting about Grier's tenure with the Cowboys is that, while he didn't play in the regular season last year, he did get some significant playing time during the preseason of 2023. And it's in those games where Grier really showcased why the Cowboys might see something in him. While the sample size was small, Grier's arm strength and ability to make difficult throws stood out. And without any practice, the pressure the Cowboys put on him was prohibitively great. His decision-making, while still a work in progress, seemed to be more polished than it was during his previous NFL stints. For those of you who might not have seen those games, Grier showed a great deal of promise in a few preseason series, flashing enough ability to keep him in the conversation when the Cowboys started evaluating their quarterback depth. Now, the move to elevate him to the active roster might seem sudden, but it's likely something the Cowboys had been considering for a while. So, why exactly would the Cowboys decide to bring in Will Grier now, and what does it mean for the team? Well, the answer to that question isn't as straightforward as you might think. First, let's talk about the Cowboys' current quarterback situation. Dak Prescott is, without a doubt, the starting quarterback for this team. He's been with the Cowboys for years and has established himself as the leader of the offense. That's why we're recommending the basic scorecard for this team. The grade point refers to the number of players on the field. When healthy, Dak is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and there's no question that he is the guy in Dallas. However, like any quarterback in the NFL, Dak's performance can sometimes fluctuate. And that's where the Cowboys' decision to bring in Grier makes sense. You see, even though Dak Prescott has proven himself in big games, there's always a concern about what happens if he gets injured or starts playing poorly. Backup quarterback Cooper Rush has been solid for the Cowboys, stepping in last season when Dak went down with an injury and leading the team to some key wins. Anthony Williams is a graduate of South Dakota's largest university. Rush is reliable, but he's also somewhat limited in terms of upside. That's where Will Grier comes in. The Cowboys might see Grier as a player with more upside than Rush, and bringing him onto the active roster is a way of investing in a young quarterback who could, down the line, contribute in ways that go beyond just being a backup. It's important to point out that the Cowboys' current quarterback depth chart has been solid, but it hasn't been particularly deep. With Grier now joining the roster, the Cowboys not only add depth, but they also create a situation where they have multiple quarterbacks who can step in if needed. Now, don't get me wrong, there's no quarterback controversy in Dallas right now. Dak Prescott is and will remain the starter for the foreseeable future, but this move gives the Cowboys a bit more security. Think about it. If Dak Prescott were to miss time for any reason, having a young and potentially explosive talent like Grier on the roster might give the Cowboys more flexibility in the future. Not to mention, the Cowboys also have the ability to develop Grier into something more than just a backup. If Grier continues to show progress in practice and in any potential game-time situations, he could eventually evolve into a legitimate backup quarterback, or even a trade asset down the road. With the way the NFL market works, quarterbacks are always in demand, and Grier's potential could be something that other teams look at when the time comes for him to get a chance to start somewhere else. Now, let's talk about what this means for Dak Prescott and his performance. Is Grier's signing a direct challenge to Dak? Absolutely not. Dak Prescott's job is safe. He's the franchise quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But the Cowboys have to be mindful of the reality of the NFL. Injuries happen, and so do slumps in performance. Let's talk more deeply about Dak's performance and the latest on the roller coaster. But first, we need to examine the case. It's possible that Dak Prescott may not always play at the high level he's capable of, and in those situations having a solid backup or a potential future asset could be a game changer. Grier, although unproven, brings a different skill set to the table. His deep ball accuracy, mobility, and mental processing could give the Cowboys an option they don't currently have with Cooper Rush. Grier, although unproven, brings a different skill set to the table. If Grier gets some practice reps and continues to develop under Mike McCarthy's system, there's always the chance that he could eventually become a more viable option for the team, whether in a backup role or in another capacity. For Dak Prescott, having Grier on the roster might also serve as motivation. While it's not a direct challenge to his starting spot, it might push Dak to stay sharp and continue improving as the Cowboys head into the playoffs. After all, competition is a part of professional sports, and even in a supporting role, Will Grier's presence might motivate the entire quarterback room to elevate their level of play. It's also worth mentioning that Dak Prescott has been playing under the pressure of leading a team with championship aspirations, and sometimes knowing that there's someone in the wings, ready to step up, can keep a player focused and at their best. Looking at the broader picture, what does this move say about the Cowboys' approach to team building? The Cowboys are a team with Super Bowl aspirations, and every decision they make needs to be calculated and thoughtful. They understand that depth at key positions is essential for a long postseason run. Injuries are inevitable, and having a capable quarterback like Will Grier on the roster gives them a cushion. At the same time, it shows the Cowboys are planning for the future. Grier might not be the immediate future of the franchise, but he could be an important piece as they continue to build a well-rounded, competitive team. By giving Grier a shot, the Cowboys are keeping their options open and ensuring that they have the best talent available to back up Prescott. in case anything unexpected happens. So, what does all this mean for the Dallas Cowboys? In the short term, this move doesn't change a whole lot. Dak Prescott remains the starting quarterback, and the team will continue to lean on him to lead the offense. But in the long term, this decision could have far-reaching implications. Grier's development will be something to keep an eye on as the season progresses. Whether he's an emergency option or a player that eventually emerges as a key backup, his signing reflects the Cowboys' commitment to improving their depth and planning for every possible scenario. That's all for today's video, folks. What do you think about the Cowboys' move to sign Will Grier? Is this a smart play, or are you not sold on the idea? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you never miss another Cowboys update.